What if, on an ordinary night over South America, the skies above Caracas suddenly trembled with the roar of heavy engines? Imagine looking up and seeing the silhouettes of more than 20 C-17 Globemaster III aircraft, massive giants of American airlift power, slowly cutting across the dark clouds. Each one is filled with Marines, armored vehicles, and supplies, prepared to land at multiple air bases surrounding Venezuela's capital. The question is simple yet unsettling. Could such a bold move succeed? Or would these flying fortresses fall victim to the steel shield of Venezuela's Russian-built air defenses? Welcome to Novastra Defense, the channel where we dive deep into hypothetical scenarios, not to glorify conflict, but to understand how modern technology, strategy, and history intersect on today's geopolitical chessboard. In this episode, we explore one of the most daring what-ifs: America's heavy lifters entering hostile skies, Venezuela's missiles waiting below, and the potential shadow of Russia watching from a distance. To grasp the scale of this scenario, we start with the C-17 Globemaster III itself. This aircraft is not just another transport plane. It is a flying colossus, capable of carrying tanks, artillery, helicopters, and up to 134 troops. The C-17 has proven itself in countless humanitarian operations, rapid deployments, and even risky landings on short or unprepared runways. In terms of strategic mobility, few machines in the world come close. But behind its impressive frame lies a vulnerability. The C-17 was never designed to duel with modern air defenses. Its size, slower maneuverability, and radar signature make it an obvious target once it enters contested skies. Now picture this. As the first wave of C-17s approaches Venezuelan airspace, the country's radar networks come alive. On their screens, glowing dots begin to multiply. Operators quickly identify them as large transports moving in formation. Venezuela, though not a military superpower, possesses formidable defensive tools. The S-300VM Ante 2500 and the Buk M2 surface-to-air missile systems. Both are of Russian origin, both designed to deny access to hostile aircraft, and both capable of tracking targets from long ranges. The S-300VM is especially daunting. With engagement ranges exceeding 200 kilometers against certain targets, it was engineered to intercept aircraft, ballistic missiles, and even cruise missiles. Its radars can simultaneously track dozens of objects. Against a slow, heavy transport like the C-17, the system would have a clear shot. Meanwhile, the Buk M2, though more limited in range, excels in medium-altitude engagements and provides layered coverage. Together, they create a deadly umbrella stretching over Caracas. And here comes the mini-hook in our story. What happens when a formation of lumbering transports enters the kill zone of some of the world's most feared air defense systems? Does steel rain down, or do the transports somehow slip through? To increase their chances, the United States would almost certainly not send the C-17s alone. Enter the F-35 Lightning II, one of the most advanced stealth fighters ever built. Unlike the Globemaster, the F-35 was designed to thrive in contested skies. With stealth shaping, electronic warfare capabilities, and precision weapons, the F-35 could attempt to clear a path, hunting down radars, jamming communications, and neutralizing missile batteries before the transports arrive. But even here, the question lingers. Stealth is powerful, yes, but can it dismantle an integrated defense network spread across mountains and valleys, operated by crews trained specifically to resist American air tactics? At this point, the narrative widens, because behind Venezuela, in the background of this drama, stands Russia. Moscow and Caracas share a long history of military cooperation. Russia has supplied Venezuela with fighters, armored vehicles, and crucially, its air defense backbone. In a hypothetical American operation, would Russia simply watch from afar? Or would it quietly provide new shipments, intelligence, or even more advanced systems like the S-400? If that were to happen, the skies above Caracas could transform into one of the most complex air defense environments in the world. A testing ground where America's airlift power collides with Russia's defensive technology, albeit through a partner state. And so, the stage is set. On one side, American steel giants, capable of transporting entire battalions across oceans. On the other, layered missile systems designed to swat them out of the sky, hovering around it all. The question of whether Russia would escalate by reinforcing its ally, or restrain itself to avoid sparking a broader confrontation. Let us pause for a moment and ask, how would the first minutes of such an encounter unfold? Radar operators in Venezuela would likely lock on to the approaching transports, commanders giving the order to track, but not yet fire. The tension would be unbearable. In the cockpits of the C-17s, crews would hear electronic warnings, sensors buzzing as enemy radars paint their aircraft. F-35 escorts would race ahead, releasing decoys, scanning for launch signals and firing missiles at radar emitters. Then, perhaps suddenly, the first S-300 battery launches. A plume of fire, a missile streaking into the night sky. And in that instant, the entire operation changes from calculated risk to desperate survival. Would the C-17s survive long enough to land troops? Possibly, if suppression of enemy air defenses is swift and overwhelming. But the margin for error is razor thin. Lose even 2 or 3 C-17s, and hundreds of troops plus critical equipment vanish before touching the ground. For America, that would be an unacceptable price. For Venezuela, even a partial success in stopping the landing would be hailed as proof of resilience. And for Russia, it would be a demonstration of its technology facing off, indirectly, against American power. This, then, is the core of our thought experiment. The collision between mobility and denial, between offense and defense, between ambition and reality. The C-17 is unmatched in delivering force across the globe, but in hostile skies, it is painfully exposed. Venezuela's missile shield is powerful, but not invincible, especially against stealth and electronic warfare. The F-35 is formidable, but not a magic wand. And Russia's role remains an enigma. Will it stay in the shadows, or step forward with reinforcements? In the end, no matter how you imagine the details, the skies over Caracas in this scenario would be a theater of steel and fire, strategy and counter-strategy. It reminds us that technology alone does not decide outcomes. It is the human choices, the calculations of risk, the restraint, the escalation or the pause, that shape history. And that is why we explore these hypothetical scenarios. Not to predict a war, not to encourage conflict, but to better understand the delicate balance of power in a world where every move is watched, and every weapon carries meaning far beyond the battlefield. So what do you think? Could America's C-17s survive the gauntlet of Venezuelan missiles? Would the F-35 carve open the skies? Or would Russia tip the scales with silent support? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more thought-provoking military analyses, make sure to subscribe to Novastra Defense. Remember, these are scenarios, not forecasts. A way to think critically, not a call to arms. Because sometimes, by exploring the what if, we get closer to understanding the what now.